ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिण हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा। So welcome to the Sri Isopanisad Bhaktisashtri. Today we are going to discuss mantra 15. This mantra onwards, that is 15 to 18, is the last section in the Isopanishads. So we will go through the overview when we discuss this. Let us first recite mantra 15. Oh, mantra 15 is not put in the slide, so I will just refer to the verse itself. हिरण्यमयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखं तत्त्वं पूषन्नपावृणो सत्यधर्माय दृश्यते. O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives. He has raised a hand. Yes, Lata Mataji, anything you have to say?
Sorry, Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu. I want to change my name. I want to include B.S. Muscat. By mistake, I raised that.
Okay, okay. Sustainer of all that lives, Pushan, your real face, Mukham, is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Hiranyamaya Patrena. Kindly remove it. Tattvam Apavranu, that covering, and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. Satya Dharmaya Drishyate. So, as I mentioned, we will go through the overview of the entire Ish Upanishads now. we saw from the invocation and mantra 1 to 3, the Ishavasya principle is discussed, and how by living in harmony and disharmony with the Ishavasya principle, what is the result was discussed. In the second section from mantras 4 to 8, yes, we should live according to Ishavasya principle. So we need to know who is Ishvara. So that Ishvara is understood by spiritual vision. So that was the discussion in mantras 4 to 8. Mantras 9 to 14 is one theme. What is the right Vidya and right Upasana, and what is the wrong Vidya and wrong Upasana for worshipping that Ishwar. After knowing the Ishwar, we have to worship the Ishwar. Now, after performing the right Upasana, ultimately, by performing sadhana, one cannot attain sadhya. Ultimately, the mercy of the Lord has to descend. And to beseech that mercy, one has to pray. So here, the devotee prayers to the Ishwar to reveal himself. So that is the theme from mantra 15 to 18. So this is the last section we are discussing, and today we are going to begin with mantra 15. Now, within this section from 15 to 18, there are two subsections. Mantras 15 and 16 speak about take me beyond the white light to the Supreme Person. That, and beyond that is your beautiful uh, personality in the form of Bhagavan feature. So take me to that. And then 17 to 18 speak about take me through all the obstacles of conditioned life to you. So there are obstacles in the practice of bhajan. And these obstacles one has to surpass ultimately to reach the Lord. So in 17 to 18, the devotee prays to the Ishwar so that he can ultimately surpass all these obstacles. So that's how the two subsections are there within this section. Okay, the verses here, in fact, हिरण्यमय पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखं तत्त्वां पूषण पावृणो सत्य धर्माय दृश्यते. O my Lord, Satyasya, sustainer of all that lives, Pushan, your real face, Mukham, is covered, apihitam, by your dazzling effulgence, Hiranyamaya Patrina. Kindly remove, apavrano, that covering, tat, and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. Satya Dharmaya Drishyate. Now, I have included Baldev Vidyabhushan's commentary here, and we will just go through the commentary because that helps in understanding the flow in this section of the Isopanishads. For the other part of the Isopanishads, we did not discuss the various acharyas commentaries because I mentioned at the beginning that Prabhupada's purports itself have different themes. That's why we divided the paragraph into various themes. And we mentioned how different acharyas, especially the Madhvacharyas like Madhvacharya and Vedanta Desika, they comment from a completely different angle. And even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, from the Rasa point, he's commenting, which doesn't add anything much. But from these mantras onwards, 15 onwards, Baldev Vidyabhushan commentary is quite insightful. So I have included here. So let us go through Baldev Vidyabhushan's short commentary. After the Guru delineates the form of Paramatma to the qualified disciple, the disciple engages in selfless worship of the Lord to meet the Lord directly and then attains a liberated state. This has been described in the previous verses or in the previous mantras. But meeting the Lord directly is not possible just by Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasan, etc. And liberation is not possible just by meeting the Lord. Only when one attains the mercy of the Lord can one attain the Lord. Many met the Lord when the Lord was there 5,000 years back. You know, many asuras saw the Lord, so they did not attain the Lord. So ultimately, by mercy, The concluding verses of the Upanishads show the method of praying for mercy so that one may attain perfection, a perception of the Lord through hearing and meditation, and so that one may attain liberation from the world through perceiving Him. Among the verses, this verse speaks of worship of the Lord in the form of sun, Hiranyamai, Patrina. In the Surya Namaskar also, there are the 12 names of Surya like Bhaskar, Ravi, and then there is this also is there. The word Hiranyamaya, literally golden, in the verse means like gold or brilliant. Patra refers to the vessel from which one drinks, pa. Here it refers to the sun planet. The sun is called a vessel because it is the object in which the rays situated there drink nourishment, or it is object from which people drink or receive the rays. It is the vessel through which we receive rays. By the brilliant Hiranyamaya, sun globe, Patrina, the face, Mukam, meaning also body suitable for pastimes, as well as the face, of the indestructible person, Satyasya, Supreme Lord, situated in the sun planet, is covered. Now, the deeper meaning is that it is not actually worship of the sun god. Now, within the sun god, the Lord is situated there in the heart. So it is referring to that here. So that is the deeper meaning. O person who nourishes the devotee, Pushan, vocative of Pusha, nourisher. O Paramatma who nourishes from within, you must uncover Apavanu, that face or the whole form. Why? It is for the direct perception, Drishyate, of the devotee like me, Satya Dharmaya. This is the prayer of the Rishi. So the Rishi is praying in this particular mantra. And if you remember, we had discussed the concept of mantra drishta. The Upanishads or the Shrutis are eternal and they don't change. Like the Smriti Shastras are composed based on the Shrutis by various acharyas. And there is an author for it. But the Shrutis don't have an author. But these mantras which are eternal are revealed to a particular rishi and they don't change. And the rishi whom they are revealed, they are called as a mantra drishta. So that's why sometimes you can see that some of the Upanishads are named after the rishis. Like the Aitreya Upanishads or like that, So Dadyan Rishi is the mantra drishta for each Upanishads. And in one sense, you can say this is the prayer of the Rishi, referring to he praying like that. Okay, this is Baldev Vidyabhushan's commentary. It is quite brief. Any questions on this? What happened to all the students today? They are not there. It's almost like only 1/3 are there. I hope you had got the message. Yes, Virendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, here this Hiranyamaya, does it refer to Lord's bodily effulgence?
Yeah, it is ultimately referring to the Lord's bodily effulgence. And here, as Baldev Vidyabhushan is referring, it is referring to the sun god, the sun planet. And within the sun planet is the sun god, and within the heart of the sun planet or sun god is the Lord situated, Narayan, Surya Narayan. So it is referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is one understanding. And ultimately, the sun is the source of illumination within this dark universe. But what is the source of the sun's energy? Actually, it is the Brahma Jyoti. In fact, all other stars and other Shashi also, like the moon, they are dependent on the sun. But sun is not the ultimate source of illumination. It is actually manifesting from the Brahma Jyoti, which is the effulgence coming from the body of the Lord. So that is another level of understanding which we should have. I hope it is clear.
Right, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's go to Prabhupada's purport. Paragraph 1, Pushan. Krishna is the basis of Brahman and Paramatma. This is paragraph 1. Let us go to paragraph 1. Now, who will read paragraph 1? It's very small. Any volunteers? Okay, Dhanalakshmi Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. In the Bhagavad
Yes.
Gita 14.27, the Lord explains his personal race, Brahma Jyoti, the dazzling effulgence of his personal form in this way. Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya devasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya shukasyaikani kantikasya cha. I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are
Continue.
are the three aspects of the same absolute truth. Brahman is the aspect most easily perceived by the beginner. Paramatma, the supersoul, is realized by those who have further progressed. And Bhagavan realization is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7.7, where Lord Krishna says that he is the ultimate concept of the absolute truth. Mataha parataram nanyat. Therefore, Krishna is the source of the Brahma Jyoti as well as the all-pervading Paramatma. Later in Bhagavad Gita 10.42, Krishna further explains, Atava bahunaitena kim jnanetena tavarjuna vishthavyaham
Kim
idam
gyatena
idam
Krishnam ekamshena stito jagat.
But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Thus, by his
Yeah, continue.
Prabhu, thus by his one plenary expansion, the all-pervading Paramatma, the Lord maintains the complete material cosmic creation. He also maintains all manifestations in the spiritual world. Therefore, in this Shruti mantra of Sri Isopanisad, the Lord is addressed as Pushan, the ultimate maintainer.
Okay. So here Prabhupada firstly, explains Brahmanohi Pratishtaham. He quotes for the, the Lord's personal rays, which are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 14.27. Now, interestingly, chapters 13 to 18 are the Jnana section of the Bhagavad Gita. And 14.26, mentions Mam cha yo vebicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samite tayetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So this jnani who is practicing jnana with a mixture of bhakti, it is called as avyabhicharena bhakti. It is not ananya bhakti. It is mixed devotion because the jnana element is predominant. So he transcends the three modes, sa gunan samite ite tan, and he should attain mam kalpate. But Krishna is saying, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He's elevated to the Brahman platform. And then in 14.27, what is that Brahman? He describes Brahmano hi pratishta aham. That, I am the shelter of this Brahman. And he explains that it is Amritasya, it is immortal, Avyayasya, it is imperishable, Shashvatasya, it is eternal, and Dharmasya, Sukasya, Ekantasya. So, whatever qualities of the soul are there, you can see the qualities are there in Brahman. The soul is eternal, imperishable, and it is, Anandobhyasyat. So it is. So these are the same qualities of the all-pervading Brahman. So now I have few slides with respect to this Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Now this is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur saying, I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. The basis of indestructible liberation. Amritasya avyayasya cha. The basis of the eternal method bhakti. Shashvatacha dharmasya. So here Baldev Vidyabhushan translates in a little different way, because ultimately the Jnani practices Jnana sadhana where there is an element of bhakti in it. Because in the 13th chapter, the 20 items of knowledge are there, beginning from Amanitam Adham Vitvam. And within that, there is one element which is called as Maija Yogena Bhakti Avyabicharini. So there is an element of bhakti also, which is they practice as their anga, but predominantly there are these 19 elements which are jnana sadhana for them. And the jnanis also attain liberation not on the strength of their jnana sadhana, but because that bhakti element is present in their jnana sadhana. It is that bhakti element which ultimately gives the fruit. And ultimately, the jnanis also have to give up jnana in order to attain liberation. And on the strength of bhakti, they can attain liberation. So that's why Baldev Vidyabhushan is translating the Shashvatasya cha dharmasya as the basis of the eternal method bhakti and the basis of the bliss of unalloyed devotee. Sukasya ekantikasya cha. Now, going back to some Upanishads, especially the Taittiriya Upanishads. The Taittiriya Upanishads speaks of the Annamaya Purusha and Pranamaya Purush, the Manomaya Purush, and then the Vijnanamaya Purush, and the Anandamaya Purush. And then ultimately it quotes Brahmano Pratishtaham, na? Here Brahma Pucham Pratishta says, this is after all these koshas are discussed, then this particular mantra is quoted. Brahma Pucham Pratishta. It is from the supremely blissful personality of Godhead, Sri Bhagavan, that Brahma, the tail, metamorphically of Bhagavan, Bhagavan's tail, obtains its substratum or basis. Therefore, Sri Bhagavan is far superior truth than Brahman. Brahma Pucham. Pucham means, the tail. Pucha is tail. And especially, it is metamorphically. So, which is beautiful? The peacock's tail or the peacock itself? And interestingly, the tail doesn't have a separate existence from the peacock. So similarly, Brahman is, based on Bhagavan. So that is the point, and that's why Bhagavan is superior truth than Brahman. So that is mentioned here in the note. The peacock feather exists to the existence of peacock or the tail also, not vice versa. It's not that the feather exists. No, sorry, the peacock feather exists due to the existence of the peacock, and it is not the opposite. The peacock is the shelter of its feather, its tail. The tail is not the shelter of the peacock. Similarly, the existence of Bhagavan's impersonal aspect, Brahma here is masculine, Brahman is neuter, and Brahmi is feminine, is due to the existence of the personal aspect of God Sri Bhagavan and not vice versa. In comparing Sri Bhagavan to a bird, he is being celebrated as a shelter or basis of Brahma, his tail. So that is a deeper understanding of Brahmano hi pratishta aham. So Brahma pucha pratishta. Further on, in this same Taittiriya Upanishads, it is also indicated the Parabrahma Bhagavan is composed of rasa. Raso vaisya rasam hi evayam labdva anandi bhavati. Sri Bhagavan is the very form of rasa, rasa sarup. Simply upon attaining him, the living entity becomes endowed with pure rapture. Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence of all Vedanta and the crown jewel among all sources of knowledge, has described how Parabrahman Bhagavan is full of rasa, and none but Sri Krishna is that rasa swarup. This is so because, as explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:43:17, he is the object of all 12 rasas. So which verse is being referred? Anyone knows? 10:43:17. Which verse is being referred from the Bhagavatam here? Anyone can guess where Krishna is Akhila Rasamratmuti, or he is the object of all 12 rasas? Anyone can guess? Any thoughts on that? Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji. Yes. I've unmuted him.
Bro, is it Mallanam Asnay Nadam
Yes,
Naroda?
yes. Exactly. Of course, I've not quoted the verse. Mallanam Ashnirvanam Naravaru Strinam Smaro Murtiman Gopanam Swajano Asatam Shitibujam Shashta Swapitro Shishu Mrityu Bhojapate Virada Vidusham Tattvam Param Yoginam Vrishninam Paradevata. I don't know the whole verse, I've not quoted, but these are all the 12 rasas. The Veslas as thunderbolt, Veeras. The men of Mathura as the best of the males, Vismayras. The women as Cupid, Madhuri Ras. Cowherd boys as the relatives, Sakya and Hasiras. Impious rulers as chastiser, Raudra Ras. His parents as their child, Vatsalya and Karuna Ras, because they are compatible. Death for Kamsa, Bhayanak Ras. Unintelligent as Virat Rup, Vibhatsya Ras. Yogis as absolute truth, Shant Ras. Vrishnis as the supreme worshipable deity, Dasiras. So all the 12 rasas were experienced based on what rasa they were situated. Krishna exhibited all these 12 rasas there. Okay. Let's go to paragraph. Okay, this is Bhagavad Gita. Okay, I had referred, that's why it came there. Yes. Let's go to the next 3 paragraphs, and the theme is here. Satya Dharmaya Drishyate, paragraphs 2 to 5. How Krishna reveals himself beyond Brahman. So 2 to 5 paragraphs. Second, third, fourth, and fifth. So who will read this? Of course, Prabhupada quotes this verse. I'm sharing the screen, hopefully. No, 1 minute. Prabhupada quotes this verse here for the Brahman aspect of the absolute truth. And this Atava Bahun Netena Kim Gyatena Tavarjuna Vishtabhyam Idam Krishnam Ekamshena Sito Jagat. This is the Paramatma aspect, because the three Purusha avatars are the Paramatma feature of the Lord. Because Kanadakshaya Vishnu is the Paramatma for the Pradhan, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is Paramatma for the each universe, and Kshirodaksha is the Paramatma who enters the heart of every jiva and into every atom. So this is the Paramatma feature of the Lord. So both are being described, and Krishna is the maintainer. He manifests both the material and spiritual worlds, and he maintains them, and that's why he's been addressed here as Pushan. Okay, paragraphs 2 to 5. Satya Dharmaya Drishyate is there. Who is going to read? How Krishna reveals himself beyond Brahman. Any volunteers, or should I select? Virendra Yadav Prabhuji, you can read.
Yes, Prabhu. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is always fixed with transcendental bliss,
Filled
filled with transcendental bliss, Anandamayo Bhashyat. When he was present at Vrindavan in India 5000 years ago, he always remained in transcendental bliss, even from the beginning of his childhood pastimes. The killings of various demons such as Agha, Bakar, Putana, and Pralamba were but pleasure excursions for him. In his village of Vrindavan, he enjoyed himself with his mother, brother, and friends, and when he played the role of a naughty butter thief, all his associates enjoyed celestial bliss by his stealing. The Lord's fame as a butter thief is not reproachable, for by stealing butter, the Lord gave pleasure to his pure devotees. Everything the Lord did in Vrindavan was for the pleasure of his associates there. The Lord created these pastimes to attack the dry speculators and the acrobats of the so-called Hatha Yoga system who wish to find the absolute truth. Of the
Continue.
childhood play between the Lord and his
Second
playmates.
paragraph. This is third, yeah. Third, fourth, and fifth. Continue.
Yeah, fourth one. Of the childhood play between the Lord and his playmates, the cowherd boys Sukadev Goswami says in Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 12, 11, Itham satam brahma sukhan bhutya dashyam gatanam paradaivatena maya sritanam naradarakena shakam vijaroh krita punya punja. The personality of Godhead, who is perceived as the impersonal, blissful Brahman by the Gyanis, who is worshipped as the Supreme Lord by devotees in the mood of servitorship, and who is considered an ordinary human being by the mundane people, played with the cowherd boys who had attained their position after accumulating many pious activities. Thus, the Lord is always engaged in transcendental loving activities with his spiritual associates in the various relationships of Sant, neutrality, Dasya, servitorship, Shakya, friendship, Vatsalya, parental affection, and Madhurya, conjugal love.
Continue.
Since it is said that Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavan Dham, one may ask how he managed the affairs of the creation. This is answered in Bhagavad Gita 13, 14 to 18. 13 chapter 14 to 18 sloka. The Lord pervades the entire material creation by his plenary part known as Paramatma or Super Soul. Although the Lord personally has nothing to do with the material creation, maintenance, and destruction, he causes all these things to be done by his plenary expansion, the Paramatma. Every living entity is known as Atma, soul, and the principal Atma who controls them all is Paramatma, the super soul.
So, yeah. So here in these three paragraphs, paragraph 2, 3, 4, and 5, the theme is Satya Dharmaya Drishyate, how Krishna reveals himself beyond Brahman. And Prabhupada is directly right in this Isopanishads. This is a Upanishads. He's explaining Krishna Leela. That the Vedanta Sutra verse sutra is Anandamayo Bhyasyat, and this is the sutra, and the sutra is in detail explained to the 10th canto pastimes, and Prabhupada is directly giving the 10th canto pastimes of Krishna right from his birth, was exhibiting all activities which was simply what? Giving pleasure to him and the Brajvasis. In fact, Krishna uh, does activities, especially in Vrindavan, just for the pleasure of his devotees. And in the Damodar Ashtakam, it is vividly described by Satyavrat Muni in the 3rd verse. Iti swalila vir ananda kunde. So like this, he performs his own leelas and drowns his devotees in the Ananda Kunda. And even Krishna's activities of stealing butter, that's why Krishna is called as Makanchor. This is not reproachable, Prabhupada is saying. So no thief is known as for his glorious activities of stealing butter. It's only Krishna who is known. And Krishna is to steal butter because it is to give pleasure to the elderly gopis. And he's to not steal the butter. Actually, he's to steal the love in the heart of these, Brajbasis who had prema for him. So that is what he was stealing. And that's why Prabhupada is saying the Lord created these pastimes to attract the dry speculators and the acrobats. The acrobats are, those who do gymnastics. Prabhupada says, the Gyan Yoga path is mental gymnastics and the Ashtanga Yoga path is physical gymnastics. And even in the Damodar Ashtakam, in that verse it mentions Tadiyeshu Taggeshu Bhakti Jitatvam. No, what is that? Tadiyeshu Taggeshu Bhakti Jitatvam Puna Premastam Satavriti Vande. And by exhibiting these pastimes, he is boldly declaring that I am not attained by those who know my Aishwarya knowledge about my majesty, but I am attracted to, the pure Madhurya sweetness, in the form of these 4 rasas, especially Sakya Dasya, Sakya Vatsalya, and Madhurya. And Prabhupada has quoted that. And Prabhupada also quotes this verse, Itham Satam Brahma Sukyanubhuktam. I've also mentioned in the slide. I don't know for what reason. Yeah, this is again Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's translation. In this way, Itham, all the cowherd boys used to play with Krishna, who is the source of Brahman effulgence for Gyanis, desiring to merge into that effulgence. Satam Brahma Sukyanubhutya, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead for devotees who have accepted eternal servitude. Dasyam Gatanam Paradevatena. And who for ordinary persons is but another ordinary child. Maya Ashritanam Nara Dharakena. So there are these 3 categories you can see here. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is bringing out in his translation. So he is the Brahman effulgence for the Gyanis who want to merge. He is the Bhagavan for those who want to serve him, because exchange of rasa can happen only between 2 persons. And it begins from Dasya. Then higher rasa is Sakya, then Vatsalya and Madhur. And for ordinary persons, is ordinary child. So it's very interesting to know that in the material world, the materialist don't accept Krishna as a personality of Godhead. And the Brajbasis also don't accept Krishna as Bhagwan. But there is a heaven and hell difference between the two. Because they are situated in rasa, whereas the materialists are, covered by Maya. The cowherd boys, having accumulated the result of pious activities for many lives, were able to associate in this way with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sakam Vijaru Krita Punya Punja. This Krita Punya Punja is referring to the devotional merits what they had performed many lifetimes. They were great rishis from the previous birth who had a desire to associate with Krishna in this particular self. How can one explain their good fortune? So this is another angle Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining. Okay, so we have finished discussion of this second section. Prabhupada in the last paragraph, Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, he mentions. And then through the Paramatma feature, Krishna creates and maintains, these universes and destroys it. He's not interested in this. He's interested in performing pastimes with his devotees. So rest all he has assigned to Baldev and all the expansions, all the way up till, Mahavishnu and Kshirodakshay Vishnu. Now, the last few paragraphs are quite interesting and quite philosophical, and we will go through them line by line or paragraph by paragraph. We'll go through because there are some philosophical points to be explained. So, but up till now, anyone has any questions, any clarifications? Okay, so then we will go to the last theme. That is, yes. So the last theme in paragraph 6 to 10 is, I'll share the screen. How the ultimate revelation of Bhagavan comes only by bhakti. So this is the theme which Prabhupada discusses from paragraph 6 to 10. So let us go paragraph by paragraph. Okay. Prabhupada speaks about the different levels in realization of the absolute truth. So who will read paragraph 6 now? Paragraph 6. Suryakunda Prabhuji. Are you there? Okay, no response. Lata Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I've just connected through my mobile. Just a minute, Prabhu. I'll open in the laptop.
Okay, I'll read this paragraph, then you can read the next paragraph. This system of God realization is a great science. The materialistic Sankhya yogis can only analyze and meditate on the 24 factors of material creation. Please mark this. For they have very little information of the Purusha, the Lord, because the Purusha is behind the 24 elements. So they only do the analysis of the 24 elements. And the impersonal transcendentalists are simply bewildered by the glaring effulgence of the Brahma Jyoti. If one wants to see the absolute truth in full, one has to penetrate beyond the 24 elements and the glaring effulgence as well. Hiranyamaya Patarena. Sri Isopanisad points towards this direction, praying for the removal of the Hiranyamaya Patra, the dazzling covering of the Lord. Unless this covering is removed, so one can perceive the real face of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, factual realization of the absolute truth can never be achieved. So there can be different levels of ignorance. At one level, when we are ignorant of God and we are in Maya, the rising of the sun, it's like, there is darkness everywhere. And when the sun rises, all the darkness is driven away. So the knowledge about the absolute truth through the process of yoga, connecting through any of the yogas where we get vidya and destroy avidya. So just as the sun starts rising, all the darkness is driven out. But there is another level of ignorance which one has to transcend. The same sun, as the sun rises and dissipates the darkness, when that same sun is in the noontime, right at the top of your head, everything is illuminated around you. But when you want to see the sun itself, you cannot see with your eyes because there's so much blur because of the intense, rays of the suns. You just cannot see the sun. And this particular mantra of the Isopanishads, Hiranyamaya Patrana, is speaking about that. So even when one is self-realized, still, one has to transcend Brahman, Paramatma, and reach Bhagwan. So the sun's effulgence, which is there right at the noon time, at 12 o'clock, even that effulgence can cause a certain kind of covering by which we cannot see even the sun also. And the dazzling rays, the sharp rays which are penetrating and hitting the eyes by which we cannot see, that is also kind of darkness or ignorance. And here in this mantra, this Rishi is praying to remove that so that one can see the absolute truth in his Bhagavan feature, Okay. Okay. Now, there is a very important concept which I would like to bring out here, because Prabhupada made a statement: the materialistic Sankhya yogis can only analyze and meditate on the 24 factors of material creation, or they have very little information of the Purusha, the Lord. So here in the slides, I have put it. Bhagwan is the ultimate revelation. Although this will come in paragraph 9, but one statement here Prabhupada has made, and that's why I want to make it clear. Now, this Jiva Goswami in his Sandarbhas analyzes, especially in the Bhagavad Sandarbha and the Paramatma Sandarbha, but in essence, what it means, the process of Sankhya, the level of God realization is absolute truth as matter, the 24 elements, So the elements of material world, that is Sankhya. Gyan is a little further. The absolute truth without potencies, Brahman. It is only the Sat aspect of the absolute truth. In yoga, the absolute truth only with material potencies. So the Paramatma feature, Sat and Chit. And in the process of bhakti, the absolute truth with material and spiritual potencies, Bhagwan, Sachid, Ananda. So if you remember in the first mantra of the Isopanishads, we have discussed Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, the Sat feature of the absolute truth, the Sat and Chit feature, and the Sat Chit Anand feature. So I will not elaborate again on that. But here, a deeper point is that Sankhya is absolute truth as matter. Gyan is absolute truth without potencies. Yoga is absolute truth with material potencies. And bhakti is absolute truth with both material and spiritual potencies. It will come up again in paragraph 9. Okay, next paragraph. Paragraph 6 is over paragraph 7. Okay. Yes, Lata Mataji, you can read now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have to read.
The Paramatma feature.
And I have scrolled it. So which paragraph it is?
Paragraph 7, the Paramatma feature of the personality of God.
Yes, I got it. The Paramatma feature of the personality of God, it is one of the three plenary expansion or Vishnu Tattvas, collectively known as Purusha avatars. One of these Vishnu Tattvas who is within the universe is known as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. He is a Vishnu among the three principal deities Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. And he is the all-pervading Paramatma in each and every individual living entity. The second Vishnu Tattva within the universe is Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, the collective super soul of all living entities. Beyond these two is Karanodakashayi Vishnu, who lies in the causal ocean. He is a creator of all universes. The yoga system teaches the serious student to meet the Vishnu Tattvas after going beyond the 24 material elements of cosmic creation. The culture of emphoric philosophy helps one realize the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, which is a glaring effulgence of the transcendental body of Lord Sri Krishna. That the Brahma Jyoti is Krishna's effulgence is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14.27 as well as in Brahma Samhita 5.40. Yashya prabhava prabhavato jagatanda kodi vasesha vasudadi vibhuti binnam tad brahma nishkalam anantam asesha bhutam govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. In the millions and millions of universe, there are innumerable planets, and each and every one of them is different from the other by its cosmic constitution. All of these planets are situated in a corner of the Brahma Jyoti. This Brahma Jyoti is but the personal rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, whom I worship. This mantra from Brahma Samhita is spoken from the platform of factual realization of the Absolute Truth. And the Shruti mantra of Sri Isopanisad under discussion confirms this mantra as a process of realization. The Isopanisad mantra is a simple prayer to the Lord to remove the Brahma Jyotir so that one can see his real face. This Brahma Jyotir effulgence is described in detail in several mantras of Mundaka Upanishad 2.2.81. Hiranmaye pare koshe Virajam Brahma Nishkalam Tachu Brahm Jodisham Jodis Tatyat Atma Vido Viduhu Natatra Suryo
You can
Bhadi.
read the translation of each, otherwise, it is difficult to.
Okay, Prabhu.
In the spiritual realm.
In the spiritual realm, beyond the material covering, is the unlimited Brahman effulgence, which is free from material contamination. That effulgent white light is understood by the transcendentalists to be the light of all life. In that realm,
Okay. In that, na tatra.
In that realm, there is no need of sunshine.
No. First the verse you have to read. Na tatra surya.
Okay, bro. न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम नेमे विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयम् अग्निः तमेव भान्तम् अनुभाति सर्वं तस्य वशा सर्वम् इदं विभाति. Kannu.
In that realm.
Yes, Prabhu. In that realm, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire or electricity for illumination. Indeed, whatever illumination appears in the material world is only a reflection of that supreme illumination. Then I have to go to the other sloka.
Yeah.
Brahmai Vedam Amritam Purastad Brahma Paschat Brahma Dakshinatas Chotarena Atas Chotvam Cha Prasrishtam Brahmeti Vedam Vishwam Idam Varishtam. That Brahman is in front and in back, in the north, south, east and west, and also overhead and below. In other words, that supreme Brahman effulgence spreads throughout both the material and spiritual skies.
Right. Okay. So, Prabhupada, we have discussed paragraph 6, and we discussed the concepts of the different levels of self-realization based on the path and how they reveal the absolute truth with material potencies or with material and spiritual, and only bhakti reveals. So in this paragraph, Prabhupada speaks about the Paramatma feature of the Absolute Truth. In fact, the yogis who meditate on the Paramatma in the heart, it is the Shirodakshai fissure, and there are different levels. Again, some yogis meditate on the Virata Purusha, which is also the Paramatma feature of the Lord. And some meditate on, Mahavishnu. So based on their level of realization and the level of practices, there are different levels of yogis who meditate on all these different aspects of the Paramatma feature of the Lord. And there are these three Paramatmas, Prabhupada is explaining. The Karanodakshaya Vishnu, as I mentioned, is the Paramatma for the Pradhan. The Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the Paramatma for each of the universes. And the Shirodakshaya Vishnu is the Paramatma who is there, the heart of every living being with the Jiva and even in every atom. So this is the verse which is there in the, I think it is in the Vishnu Puran, I think, or I don't remember which Puran this is from. Vishnustu trini rupani purush akhyanato vidu ekam tu mahatah shrishtir vitiyam tu anda samsitam tritiyam sarva bhutastam hani gyatva vimuchyate. For material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumes three Vishnus. The first one, Mahavishnu, creates a total material energy known as the Mahatattva. Because when Mahavishnu glances on the Pradhan, and because of the agitation of the glands and the Kala Shakti and the Jivas entering, the subtlest of the material creation, subtlest of the elements, Mahatattva is formed. From Mahatattva, from the subtle gross, all the elements come. So Mahavishnu does that. The second, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. The third, Shirodakshaya Vishnu, is diffused as the all-pervading Supersoul in all the universes and is known as Paramatma. He is present even within atoms. Anyone who knows these three Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. So having the knowledge of these three Vishnus, this is a glory. Tani Gyatva Vimuchyate. So Prabhupada practically paraphrases this entire verse here. And then Prabhupada mentions that the Jnanis, realize the impersonal Brahman, which is the glaring effulgence. And this is being described in the Brahma Samhita. And he quotes another reference from the Manduka Upanishads. Hiranmaya Parekosha. Now, the second verse which is quoted from the Mandaka Upanishads is there because Gita is the Gita Upanishads. Do you find any other verse in the Gita which speaks very similar? Na tatra surya bhati, na chandra tarakam, nema vidyato bhati, kuto yam agni, tam eva bhantam anubhati sarvam, tasya bhasya sarvam idam vibhati. Anyone knows a verse from the Gita? I will take questions just after this discussion. Avdare Gaurang Prabhuji, you want to answer or you have a question? Avdare Gaurang Prabhuji?
Ji Prabhuji.
You have a question or you want to answer?
No Prabhuji, nothing.
Nothing, okay. Birendra Yadav Prabhuji, you wanted to answer, right?
Bro, is it na tadbhaseto surya na bhavka sasankha? That was?
Yes, it is referring to that verse, but there, tad dhama paramam mama. So there directly Krishna is referring to his abode, which is the personal aspect of the Bhagavan feature. But here, it is referring to mainly the Paramatma feature here. And then the next verse which is quoted, that Brahman is everywhere, Paschat Brahma Dakshinas Chotaram Adashravardvam cha Prasastam Brahmeva Vedam Vishwam Idam Varishtam. Is there any parallel verse in the Gita referring to the same theme? Anyone knows? Is there a verse? Anyone knows about it? Anyone knows? Any answers on that? Any similar verse in the Gita? No one has raised hands. All have finished their bhaktisashtri Bhagavad Gita very recently. Hmm? One answer is here. Okay, the question is that this verse, that the Supreme Brahman is in the front, back, in the north, south, east, west, overhead, below, everywhere. It's spread everywhere. So, is there any parallel verse in the Gita? That's my question. That's my question. At least you can answer in which chapter of the Gita is there. If you don't remember the verse. Even I am also looking for that verse. I remember it is there, but I am also not finding which exactly is the verse. Anyone knows at least which chapter it is there? No, there is one answer here. Chapter 11, Virat Rupa. Yes, Mataji, you are correct. Rajeshwar Mataji, yes. Do you know the
Yeah,
verse?
Prabhu, but I'm just searching the verse.
Even I am searching for it.
Yeah. Just what? Just going through the 11th chapter.
Yes, I got it. I knew it was there. Okay, so can I show the verse? Mataji, with your
Yeah.
permission?
Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhu, please.
Yes, yes. So Nama Purustat Ata Prashashtaste Namoste tu Sarvata Eva Sarva Ananta Viramite Vikramastvam Sarvam Samapnosi Tatosmi Sarva. Nama, offering your obeisance in the front, from behind, from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading and thus you are everything. So it's very similar, parallel, very similar verse. Also, you find this here in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So paragraph 6 and 7 we have discussed. If you have any questions, we can take up. Paragraph 8 now. Who will read? Mataji, you can read. Rajeshwari Mataji.
Yeah, Prabhu.
The perfect knowledge means knowing Krishna as the root of this Brahman effulgence. This knowledge can be gained from such scriptures as Srimad Bhagavatam, which perfectly elaborates the science of Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the author Srila Vyasadeva has established that one will describe the supreme truth as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagwan according to one's realization of him. Srila Vyasadeva never states that the supreme truth is a jiva, an ordinary living entity. The living entity should never be considered the all-powerful supreme truth. If he were the supreme, he would not need to pray to the Lord to remove his dazzling cover so that the living entity could see his real face.
Yes.
The conclusion
So,
is that
no. Hold on. We'll discuss paragraph by paragraph. So in this paragraph, Prabhupada says, if you want perfect knowledge, means knowing Krishna, who is the root of this. And he says you have to refer to Srimad Bhagavatam. And where in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the author has described the supreme truth as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, according to one's realization of him. Which verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam it is described? Anyone knows? Raise your hands.
is it
Where
as
it is
Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwaniti, Shatyate?
That is the definition of the absolute truth. But the realization of the absolute truth, based on Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, where it is mentioned, it is, you're very close, but it is also a little difficult for those who have not studied from a different angle, where it is mentioned that one will realize Brahman according to one's level, that same absolute truth, and one will realize that Paramatma, and one will realize as Bhagwan, that absolute truth. If he follows the process of Bhakti Yoga, then he'll realize it as Bhagwan. If he follows the process of Jnana Yoga, he'll realize as Brahman. If he follows the process of Ashtanga Yoga, then he'll realize as Paramatma, where it is mentioned. Anyone? You are very close, Mataji. You'll have to go another one step ahead. Which verse? The verse you quoted is correct. That is the definition of the absolute truth. But the realization of that absolute truth, that tat, Jivasya Tattva Jigyasa, and that Tattva is defined in 1 to 11. But how do you realize it? Where is that? Which is that verse? That is the next verse. Tat Shraddhadhana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyantyatmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruti Grihitya. So Vishwanath Chakra Thakur in his commentary mentions Pashyantya Atmani Chatmanam. So those by the process of Jnana Yoga will realize him as Brahman. And those by the process of Ashtanga Yoga will realize him as Paramatma. And those who follow the process of Bhakti Yoga will realize him as Bhagwan. Prabhupada directly can see here Atmanam, Paramatma. He translates it in word. But Prabhupada emphasizes both especially on Bhaktya, Shruti, Grihita. So Prabhupada directly emphasizes on the Bhakti process, but Vishwanath Chakra Thakur emphasizes on all the three aspects. And I think it is wise to, see that understanding so that we get a good insight. So I'm just sharing the screen on Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary on that verse. Okay, it is here. Yes. Okay, I'm sharing the screen. Tatshaddadana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya pashyant atmani atmanam bhaktya shrutiya. The seriously inquisitive student or sage, Tatshaddadana munayo, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, jnana vairagya, realizes the absolute truth, pashyanti atmani atmanam, by rendering devotional service after hearing from Guru. Bhaktya shruti grihita. And here, oh, what happened? Why is this slide not getting displayed? Yeah. So, Pashyanti Atmana, person, the Jnani, the aspect of the absolute truth, Atmani is Brahman. For the yogis, it is Paramatma, and for the devotees, it is Bhagavan. So, in the purport, it is quite elaborate, but I've just summarized here in the slide. I hope it is clear. Okay. Now, the next two paragraphs, who will read? Who has not till now read? Dwarkadish Prabhuji.
Yes, sorry, Haribol. Next.
Yeah. The conclusion.
Yeah. Not at display. Yeah.
The conclusion is that
Hare Krishna. The conclusion is that the one who has no knowledge of the potencies of supreme truth will realize the impersonal Brahman. Similarly, when one realizes the material potencies of the Lord but has little or no information of the spiritual potencies, he attains Paramatma realization. Thus, both Brahman and Paramatma realization of the absolute truth are partial realizations. However, when one realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in full potency, after the removal of the Hiranmaya Patra, one realizes the Vasudeva Sarvamidhi. Bhagavad Gita 7:19. Lord Krishna, who is known as Vasudeva, is everything. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He is Bhagavan, the root, and Brahman, and Paramatma, and are his branches.
yes, okay, hold on. So this we discussed in this chart, if you remember, because Prabhupada mentioned there, we discussed the absolute truth level of God realization is, by Sankhya is absolute truth as matter without potencies, Gyan, with material potencies, Yoga, and with material and spiritual potencies is Bhakti. So Prabhupada is quoting 7.19. Bahunam janmanamante Jnanavan mam prapadyate. Vasudeva sarvamiti sahamatma sudurlabha. So the Jnani is not a Mahatma. The Jnani, when he becomes Jnanvan, and when he'll become Jnanvan, Bahunam janmanamante. So by practicing the process of Jnana for many births, and Vishwanath Chakra Thakur mentions that when, what is that number after 10 births, 15 births, or 100 births? No, he says in any of the births, when this Jnani comes in touch with a devotee, and that devotee, by his mercy, when he gives him the real Tattva understanding, then he understands that, oh, that all pervading effulgence, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, that is Krishna. Bahunam janmamante jnanavan mam prapadyate. So this Jnani doesn't surrender to the all-pervading Brahman, but he surrenders to the person Krishna. And then he becomes a Mahatma. Then he becomes a Mahatma. Okay, last paragraph. You can read, Dwarkadish Prabhu.
Yes, bro. In the Bhagavad Gita 6:46 to 47, there is a comparative analysis of the three types of transcendentalists: the worshippers of the impersonal Brahman, Jnanis, the worshippers of the Paramatma feature yogis, and devotees of the Lord Sri Krishna Bhaktas. It is stated there that the Jnanis, those who have cultivated Vedic knowledge, are better than ordinary fruity workers. That the yogis are still greater than the Jnanis. And that among all yogis, those who constantly serve the Lord with all their energies are the topmost. In summary, a philosopher is better than a laboring man. A mystic is superior to a philosopher. And of all the mystic yogis, he who follows Bhakti Yoga, constantly engaging in the service of the Lord, is the highest. Sri Isopanisad directs us towards this perfection.
Perfection. So Prabhupada concludes, now after describing the levels of realization and that ultimate realization of Bhagwan is by the process of bhakti when the absolute is realized with material and spiritual potencies. Now, we saw one of the transitions which Prabhupada spoke about, that by the process of Sankhya, which is described in 7.4 and 4, 5, 6, and 7, ultimately 18.55 describes the transition, how a Sankhya becomes a, realizes the Bhagwan. And Jnana Prabhupada has translated, given in the purport 7.19. Yoga is described in 6.14 and 15, and the topmost yogi is 6.47. Karma 3.9, and a karma yogi becoming a bhakti yogi is 3.30. So these are further elaborations on. Prabhupada has only discussed about jnana, but how Sankhya ultimately leads to bhakti, by which the ultimate revelation of the absolute truth happens, we have discussed here. Now, Prabhupada has quoted 6.46 and 47. Let us go to that. Tapasvi bhyo diko yogi, jnani bhyo pi matodikha, karmi bhishcha diko yogi, tasmat yogi bhavarjuna. According to me, Mata, the yogi is better than a tapasvi. Tapasvi bhyo adhika yogi. Better than a jnani. Jnani bhyo pi adhika. And better than a karma yogi. Karme bhishcha adhiko yogi. Therefore, be a yogi, Arjuna. Tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna. And then the last verse. Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mata. But I consider me mata, he who worships me with full faith, yah shraddhavan mam bhajate, with mind attached to me, madgaten antaratmana, to be greater than all types of yogi. Yoginam api sarvesham yuktama. So these are two verses the Prabhupada has quoted here. Okay, so the highest yogi is the Bhakti Yogi. Prabhupada has concluded here. And the Bhakti Yogi practices Bhakti Yoga, by which he can realize Bhagwan. And this is what Sri Isopanishads is pointing in this mantra. That's how Prabhupada beautifully covers the entire theme of this mantra. Okay, so we have completed discussion of all the themes. Any questions or clarifications?
Yes,
Yes,
last week I went to Kerala, my native place, for 3-4 days leave. So near my home, there was some Srimad Bhagavad Satra, some 10 days program going on nearby temple. And what they do is that they read one canto.
Do you have a question? Do you have a question related to Isopanishads class today?
Yeah, same thing, Prabhu. I'm coming to that point. So they have they read the complete Bhagavatam, and it will be explained the remaining days with so many speakers. So they invited speakers from various sampradayas, not only Shankaracharya, Advaita, everything. So, but I understood that they all giving importance to, because they are taking Srimad Bhagavatam, they are giving importance to Bhakti only. But what I understood is that what they say, ultimately is Brahman only. Brahman means taking the form, and they worship that. So they don't accept this point that originally it is Bhagavan, but the Brahman is only an aspect. This, I don't know how.
First of all, what is your question? If you keep on elaborating all this, but come to the point, what exactly precisely is your question?
And why this in India, whatever we speak, okay, we give importance to this concept. Bhagavan is the original, and Brahma means the tail. But in all over India, if you see, this concept is not accepted. Still they say Brahman is
Yeah.
that.
So we have to understand not only in India, in the entire world, in the entire universe, Nirvishesh and Shunyavadi, nobody accepts Bhagavan as a person, because then you have to surrender. Only when you come to a bona fide disciplinic succession and hear from bona fide devotees who are coming in the Guru Shishya Parampara, then this understanding slowly comes in. And what you are mentioning, that in that sapta, there were many who are practicing Bhakti Yoga. They are not practicing Bhakti Yoga. Please remember that. Because they don't accept Bhagavan. They interpret the Bhagavatam according to their own conception. So they use the Bhagavatam as a tool for, presenting some concept which is not as per the Acharyas and the Guru Shishya Parampara. So that's why, beginners, especially in the Krishna consciousness, and even those who are many years in Krishna consciousness, should avoid and hear this subject matter, the tattva, by studying Prabhupada books very systematically and understanding the basic foundational knowledge for many, many years. Otherwise, we'll also get bewildered at some point.
Even they describe Leelas and they become emotional. They're so emotional.
That's all. That's what, that's what you have to understand in essence, that all this is bogus and there's no need to do much elaboration on this. So better follow the bona fide process of purification. Otherwise, it is Sahajism.
Yeah, it was just a speaker just near towards my home, so I was hearing it. Not that I went there. And probably one more thing I want to ask you: this Vishwa Chakravarti's interpretation is available in the market to buy. This Veda's translation or Srimad, that is available.
First of all, it is not interpretation. It is Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary, and it is not available in the market. You can say it is available in our temple in any of the gift shops, or you can directly buy it from, Bhanu Swami Maharaj has translated all these works in English. And Bhanu Maharaj has this Vaikunta Enterprises where all his books are available, where you can order it online, or you can buy them from the gift shops of our temple, not from the market.
Okay, bro. Okay.
Okay.
So iskcon is having that books. Okay, fine. Then I will.
Yes, some of the centers, especially the main centers like Vrindavan and Mayapur, they keep all these books. But you can directly order from Chennai, and you can get the books. But first, for many, many years, you should study all the Prabhupada's small books, the bhaktisashtri books, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, at least many, many, many times till you're thorough. And still you have to study. You have to study the Bhagavatam also many, many times, and the Chaitanya Charitamrita, at least for 15 years.
Okay.
And then with the permission and blessings of your Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru, then you have to study the Acharya's commentaries.
Okay.
First, you have to study all Prabhupada books thoroughly. Okay?
Okay, bro.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Okay, so we have finished mantra 15. Next week onwards, we will discuss mantra 16. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Isopanisad ki jai. Hare Krishna.